For those who don't know, this is how I got my start in this business, covering the team that made this song legendary forever. And now, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Phil Jackson, the Chicago Bulls of the 90s, one of the great dynasties in the history of American sports. And when we speak of chemistry, I think sometimes it's underrated, understated how much chemistry Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen had together. People talk about whether Scottie Pippen is the greatest Robin of all time. Jordan was clearly the best player on those teams. All that is true. Scottie Pippen is as effective anyway. I don't know if he's the greatest second best player ever, because when Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar were together, at some point one of them had to be the second best player. And there have been other teams like that, Shaq and Kobe. But for what they needed him to do, Scottie was perfect. Perfect. Scottie Pippen was the perfect player to be playing alongside Michael Jordan. And there's no way Michael wins 6 championships without Scottie. And there's also no way Scottie Pippen wins anywhere near what he won without Michael and becomes remembered the way he is now, becomes an immortal. Scottie Pippen is an NBA immortal. Which is all my way of leading up to tell you why it makes me so incredibly sad to see what we saw from Scottie Pippen over the weekend. So I saw the video like you probably did. I'll play some of it in case you haven't. This is from the Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast, which I think is Stacey King's podcast, if I'm not mistaken. Stacey was on those first three-peat teams with Michael and Scottie in Chicago and has maintained a very significant presence in Chicago as a broadcaster and analyst for the Bulls. It is from his podcast, yeah. And I like Stacey. He's a funny guy. But so Scottie is on there, and he continues to have really tough things, bad things to say about Michael Jordan. Now, there's a factor in all of this that is very difficult to talk about, and that is, and I'm just going to put it at its most basic, it's 35,000-foot view, and I don't know any more about it, so I won't say any more about it. But it is by no means a secret that one of Michael Jordan's sons and Scottie Pippen's ex-wife have some sort of relationship. I don't know the details of what it is, and that obviously is an excruciatingly awkward set of circumstances, and it's somewhat easy to see why that might create an issue. I don't know how to put that into this conversation. I don't know how to quantify any of that. So I won't even try to. But from a basketball standpoint, Scottie Pippen is on that podcast, Give Me the Hot Sauce, and he's talking about Jordan, and in particular, Michael, before Scottie, got there.
LeBron will be the greatest statistical guy to ever play the game of basketball. And there's no comparison to him. None. So, does that make him the greatest player to ever play the game? I'll leave that out for debating, because I don't believe that there's a great player, because our game is a team game, and one player can't do it. Like, I seen Michael Jordan play before I came to play with the Bulls. You guys seen him play. He was a horrible player. He was horrible to play with. He was all one-on-one. He's shooting bad shots. And all of a sudden, we become a team and we start winning. Everybody forgot who he was.
Okay, so that's Scottie Pippen. I'm not even going to get into how wrong he is. That isn't what's important here. He's unbelievably wrong. Yes, Michael Jordan, when he first came in, was a dynamic, brilliant offensive talent who was at times criticized for taking a lot of shots and all that. He was on bad teams with bad chemistry and some guys that they needed to get rid of and all the rest of that. But whatever. What's important here is not how astute the basketball commentary is, because if anyone is going to make that point, you wouldn't think it would be his most iconic teammate, his running mate, the Robin to his Batman, the guy with whom he won it all. They're the only players who were on all of those teams. It makes me so sad as I sit there and I watch Scottie, and I will tell you why. Because I was there. I played no role in it, but it changed my life completely. Covering those teams getting the series of lucky breaks that I got when I was 24 years old and wound up covering that team for a major outlet in Chicago is the absolute reason why I am where I am today, why I have the life I have today. I owe everything I have to Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. And so do thousands of people. And forgetting what they did tangibly for people, it's the intangible that matters the most. Those teams brought incalculable joy to millions of people, to their fans in Chicago, to all the fans they made outside of Chicago, to all the fans they made all over the world. They created memories that people will never forget. They created endless joy that I will take with me to my grave having watched it. And the fact that one of the central pieces, arguably the second most important person in all of it, an integral piece of all of it, feels so much bitterness toward it, seems to derive no joy from it whatsoever, but instead just this anger and bitterness. It's tragic. From a purely sports standpoint, it's tragic. I don't mean to compare it to legitimate tragedies, but within the purview of sports, it is tragic to me that that man, Scottie Pippen, who is a good human being, derives so much bitterness and seemingly so little pleasure and joy from what he accomplished. Makes me feel terribly sad for him. Back in a minute. Any of us, anyway, for the first time together, because I've been so knee-deep in all the basketball and everything else that I have on my plate. Obviously, we had the Aaron Judge controversy to like about Jaylen
Exactly.
Brown.
So it sounds like an obvious answer, but I don't think it's that easy, and I think there's a lot of layers to it. It's do the Celtics want to do this going forward, understanding that you will have these two players. You have to now build smartly around them, probably have to find guys for lesser money to build around them. And then the question is, as you said, and I love this, I'm actually going to steal this one because I love it. We both host, so I understand it. It's either Tatum times Brown or Tatum plus Brown. You say this about hosting. Yeah. It's me and someone else. The chemistry is either plus or times. Either we multiply each other or it's just we're together. They seem like it's plus because we never see them in two-man game. We never see them working off each other. Even Harden and Embiid actually play off of each other a little bit and pick and roll, and at times it has worked. This is not like that. So does Boston say we've got two super talents, we've got to find the conduit. We've got to find the one that connects the two of them, a better playmaker. That's hard to do as well. A lot of decisions. But the last part of this is the one I'm not letting go of. I understand it's a lot of money, but Greeny, if you've listened to Jaylen Brown, he's either trying to use it as leverage, you better give me the full Supermax, right? So, because I don't know if I want to stay here throwing that out there, or does he really believe, I don't know if I'm comfortable living in Boston. I don't know if I like being Robin to Tatum's Batman.
Yep.
And maybe I want to try going somewhere else. He does have control because if they do seek a trade, if he wants a trade, he can say, I'm signing an extension there, but I'm not signing an extension there. So there's a lot of layers to this that to me is the very first job the Celtics have to get to after exit interviews.
All right, I got to let Alan go. You got to go get ready for your show today. Bart Scott will be